It took 27 hours for him to die. 27 hours trapped upside down in a cold, silent cave, with his arms pinned beneath him and his chest crushed so tightly he could barely breathe. At first, he tried to laugh it off. Then, as the hours passed, he prayed quietly, whispering apologies to the rescuers who worked desperately to free him. By the end, he wasn't speaking at all. And when rescuers finally realized there was nothing more they could do, they faced a horrifying truth. He would never leave that cave, because even today, years after his death, his body is still there, sealed behind layers of rock and concrete. But the most haunting part of this story isn't that he died underground. It's the way he got trapped in the first place, and the silent, creeping realization that his final resting place was chosen for him the moment he crawled inside. John Edward Jones was 26 years old. He was a medical student visiting his family in Utah for Thanksgiving. He had a wife, a 1-year-old daughter, and another baby on the way. On the evening of November 24th, 2009, John joined his younger brother Josh and a group of friends to explore Nutty Putty Cave, a local system known for its narrow, twisting tunnels and sticky clay walls that earned it its playful name. But, despite its fun reputation, Nutty Putty Cave had a dark history. It had been closed before, after near-fatal rescues, because its tight passages were just too dangerous. Still, that night, John felt confident. He had grown up caving with his family. This was just another adventure, another chance to squeeze through tight tunnels, laugh with his brother, and feel like a kid again. He didn't know that within the hour he would be fighting for his life deep underground. They entered around 8 p.m. John led the way, his helmet light cutting through the silent black. They laughed, squeezed through muddy passages, and felt the childlike thrill only caving brings. At first, the tunnels were wide enough to crawl comfortably. But as they ventured deeper, the cave grew narrower, tighter, and colder. The walls pressed in from every side, their breathing echoing in the silence. That's when John spotted a narrow opening slanting down at a sharp angle. He believed it was a tunnel known as the Birth Canal, a well-known tight squeeze that cavers often used as a challenge. Determined to show his younger brother he hadn't lost his edge, John slid down head first. He pushed his arms forward, wriggled his chest through, and inched deeper, feeling the cold clay against his skin. But within seconds, he realized something was wrong. This tunnel wasn't the Birth Canal. It was smaller, tighter, and steeper. But by the time John tried to reverse out, it was too late. He exhaled deeply and tried to pull back. Knowing that pulling back didn't work, he tried again, pushing his hips upward, scraping his shoulders against the rock. Still, nothing. The tunnel was only 10 inches high and 18 inches wide. John was trapped upside down, his arms pinned beneath him, his chest compressed so tightly he couldn't expand his lungs fully. Panic set in as blood rushed to his head. He called out to Josh, who scrambled down the passage toward his brother's muffled voice. When Josh reached him, he saw only John's boots and lower legs sticking out of the hole. His brother's voice was tight with fear. "I can't move. I'm stuck. I'm so sorry." Josh tried pulling him by the ankles. He tried bracing his own body against the cave wall and yanking with all his strength, but every pull caused John to scream in pain. The pressure on his chest and abdomen was becoming unbearable. Josh had no choice. He backed out and called for help. By 9 p.m., Utah County Search and Rescue was on site. They rigged ropes, pulleys, and harnesses, sending rescuers deep into the cave's winding belly to reach John. But maneuvering in such cramped quarters was almost impossible. Rescuers took turns crawling down to him, talking to keep him calm. They fed him water through a tube and covered his legs with blankets to keep his body temperature stable. But John was trapped headfirst at a 70-degree angle. Gravity forced blood to pool in his brain. His heart had to work double time to keep circulation moving against the pull. If they didn't get him out soon, his organs would begin to shut down. The team devised a pulley system anchored to the cave walls. They tied a rope around John's legs and began to pull. For a moment, it worked. His body shifted upward, his chest freed slightly. The rescuers cheered, telling him he was almost out. But then, a loud snap. The rope anchor embedded in the cave wall ripped free, and John's body crashed back down into the tunnel. The force slammed his chest against the rock, crushing what little space he had left to breathe. The cave shuddered with the sound, and hope drained from the rescuer's eyes. Over the next several hours, dozens of rescuers rotated through the cave, each hoping a fresh idea or pair of hands could save him. But with each hour that passed, John's breathing grew shallower. He drifted in and out of consciousness, murmuring prayers for his wife and unborn child, apologizing for getting stuck, apologizing for dying. At one point, he whispered to a rescuer, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry you have to do this." Rescuers froze, staring at each other in the darkness, each one silently realizing this was no longer a rescue. This was now a recovery. Hours later, as dawn broke over the Utah desert, John fell silent. There, alone in the darkness, 400 feet underground, trapped upside down in a stone funnel that would become his grave, his heart finally stopped. Removing his body was deemed too dangerous. The cave structure was so fragile that any further excavation risked the lives of recovery teams. Nutty Putty Cave was sealed permanently, filled with concrete, its entrance closed forever. Today, if you drive along Utah State Route 68, you'll pass a silent hill of sandstone under which John's body still rests. His family placed a memorial plaque at the entrance before it was sealed, honoring the life of a man who loved adventure, his faith, and his family more than anything. For cavers around the world, Nutty Putty remains a chilling reminder. Nature doesn't care how skilled you are. Tight spaces don't care about your faith or your training, and sometimes, the cave just doesn't let you go. Most cave stories end with people crawling back into the daylight, shaken but alive. But not this one. John Jones went into Nutty Putty Cave expecting a challenge, maybe some laughs with his brother, and a good story to tell at Thanksgiving dinner. Instead, he spent his final hours trapped, upside down, in silent darkness, apologizing to the very people trying to save him. Today, his body is still there. They sealed the cave forever, leaving him entombed in the place that took his life. And that's what makes this story so haunting. Not just that he died underground, but that he never came back out. So if you ever find yourself staring into the mouth of a cave, thinking it looks narrow and dangerous, remember John Jones, because some places aren't meant for us. And if you push too far, you might never leave. If you found this story as haunting as I did, and you want to hear more true stories like it, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I post new videos every week about the darkest corners of the world we think we know. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.